Vanessa Trump's marriage ended in 2018, and from the looks of it, her relationship was anything but happy. From rumors of infidelity to serious death threats, Vanessa endured a great deal of pain and public humiliation while married to Donald Jr. Vanessa Trump's first love was Valentin Rivera. To Vanessa, Rivera was her soulmate, and she wanted to start a family with him. The two connected in elementary school and fell madly in love. Rivera, however, had a pretty checkered reputation and was part of a street gang. Vanessa knew this but didn't mind. In fact, a friend of hers told GQ that she enjoyed having a gangster boyfriend and even tried to embrace the lifestyle. The friend told the outlet she wore big hoop earrings, hair slicked back. She thought she was a gangster. She had a gangster boyfriend and she acted like a gangster herself. Thanks to his dubious activities, Rivera soon found himself in prison for assault. During this time, Vanessa wrote love letters to him, which Page 6 got a hold of in 2018. In the letters, Vanessa professed her love numerous times, despite hearing whispers that Rivera joined the Latin Kings gang. Rivera broke up with Vanessa after hearing about her alleged relationship with Leonardo DiCaprio. By this time, he'd been imprisoned several more times. It's safe to say that few people who truly love someone care about the cost of their engagement ring. However, it's another matter entirely when your hubby-to-be proposes with a free ring that he managed to acquire solely because he promised to stage a photo op. That is what Donald Trump Jr. apparently did when he proposed to Vanessa Trump. The future Mrs. Trump might have received a $100,000 ring when Donald Jr. went down on one knee, but it was allegedly all a farce. Sources told the New York Post that Donald Jr. made a deal with the jeweler, Bailey, Banks & Biddle, to give him the ring free of charge in exchange for some advertising. When he asked his girlfriend's hand in marriage, the paparazzi and some television crews were on standby to capture the moment.
I'm very happy.
She better be very happy.
The New York Post dubbed Donald Jr. the cheapest gazillionaire. Even Donald Jr.'s father thought it was a cheap move. While making an appearance on Larry King Live, the elder Trump called out his son for the blunder, telling the host, "You have a name that is hot as a pistol. You have to be very careful with things like this."
Donald and Vanessa, congratulations.
If anonymous sources are to be believed, Vanessa Trump's marriage wasn't nearly as glamorous as her engagement ring. Apparently, Donald Jr. giving his wife-to-be a free engagement ring was an indication of how the rest of their marriage was about to go. After all, sources claimed that one of the main reasons Vanessa decided to divorce Donald Jr. is that, despite being a rich man, he was allegedly never very generous when it came to her. One source claiming to be a friend of Vanessa's told Page 6, he gives her very little help and has been keeping her on a tight budget. She doesn't live a lavish life and can very rarely pick up a check at dinner. Another tipster told Page 6 that Vanessa was also having a hard time because her husband was barely ever home, claiming, Don Jr. has been busy traveling, which has contributed to their problems. Vanessa is a devoted mother, but she's increasingly lonely and alone in the house with the children. Vanessa's spokesperson, however, dismissed all these claims, calling them absolutely false. Apparently, Vanessa and Donald Jr. were having relationship problems even before the two tied the knot. Whether or not this had something to do with how Donald Jr. decided to pop the big question is unclear, but sources claim trouble was plenty before the couple's nuptials. It was reportedly so bad that some of Vanessa's friends told her to break off the engagement. A source even told Page 6 that Vanessa was allegedly ready to give up on her marriage right before Donald Trump Sr. won the 2016 presidential election. The tipster claimed, no one thought he'd win. He won and she decided to stay until his term is over. As we all know, Vanessa filed for divorce in 2018, 2 years before Donald Sr.'s term came to an end, and sources claim she did so because she just couldn't stand it anymore. It's not entirely clear what kind of problems the couple was dealing with prior to their marriage. Vanessa's former publicist, Christine Schott, told the New York Times that an issue the couple dealt with early on was Donald Jr.'s love of big game hunting. Vanessa did not approve of this and didn't like how this so-called hobby portrayed them in the eyes of the public. Aside from apparently dealing with marital problems, Vanessa also got a big scare in 2018 when she opened a letter addressed to her husband. Upon opening the letter, she realized it contained white powder and a threatening message. The letter, according to ABC News, read, "You are an awful, awful person. I'm surprised that your father lets you speak on TV. You make the family idiot Eric look smart. This is the reason why people hate you, so you are getting what you deserve." The last line is probably what alerted Ms. Trump to the possibility that the letter might not just be a hoax. She called 911, and after undergoing decontamination, she was sent to the hospital. The letter did turn out to be an empty threat, with authorities determining that the white powder was cornstarch. However, Vanessa was reportedly left rattled by the incident, sources told Page 6. One tipster claimed to the outlet, Vanessa is by nature a very low-key person, and she is uncomfortable with the attention her family is getting now the Trumps are on the world stage. She is also worried for her kids, particularly after she received the threatening letter. Authorities managed to track down the culprit, who turned out to be 25-year-old Daniel Frisiello from Massachusetts. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, condemned Frisiello's actions, telling the New York Post, "How disturbed must a person be to do what they did to a mother of 5 young children?" It appears that Donald Trump Jr. has a wandering eye, which is very likely one of the reasons his marriage ended in shambles. In 2011, he was sending flirtatious texts to former model Melissa Stetton. Stetton shared a screenshot of one such text from Donald Jr. on X in 2018 after it was announced that Vanessa filed for divorce. Stetton wrote in the caption, "Surprised his marriage didn't work out since he was sending me DMs a month after his wife gave birth." It appears Ms. Trump was blissfully unaware of her husband's online activities.
I feel like a princess.
However, the illusion was shattered in 2012 when she reportedly found out about an affair he was having with singer Aubrey O'Day. O'Day was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice, which Donald Trump used to host.
You're fired.
The former president had his son work as an advisor during this time, and this is how he first met O'Day. A source told Page 6, Donald Jr. pursued Aubrey. It was him who chased her. He told her that his marriage was already in the process of dissolving.
Don Jr. makes me nervous because I have a very big crush on him, so I don't want to disappoint him.
Meanwhile, Vanessa only found out about the affair when she saw flirtatious text messages from O'Day on her husband's phone while he was taking a shower, a source told People. She confronted Donald Jr., and he reportedly ended the affair. An insider told the outlet, "To Don Jr., the affair was very exciting." When news first broke of Vanessa and Donald Jr.'s divorce in March 2018, it appeared that the couple's split might not turn into a classic soap opera. Page 6 first reported the news, explaining that Ms. Trump had filed for an uncontested divorce, which indicated that there would be no ugly court fights regarding custody of the couple's children or assets. They announced their split to the world in a joint statement, and it appeared that the two would divorce quietly. However, a few months later, sources told In Touch that things weren't proceeding as originally planned. Vanessa came into some money shortly after filing for divorce, thanks to an investment her late stepfather made. This appeared to ruffle Donald Jr.'s feathers, who brought the matter up in court proceedings and ordered his ex to disclose her new net worth. Sources claimed that Vanessa wasn't about to give Donald Jr. what he wanted. One source predicted, between fighting over money, Vanessa not wanting to be publicly embarrassed any more than she already has, and Don Jr.'s ego, it'll get bad. What exactly played out during the divorce isn't public knowledge. Norman Heller, Donald Jr.'s lawyer who handled the case, initially thought that all would be finalized in a matter of weeks, but Page 6 reported that the couple's divorce was finalized by the end of 2018. Apparently, things didn't go as smoothly as Vanessa had hoped. When Vanessa first met Donald Jr., she was an aspiring actress and model. She landed a very small role in the 2003 flick Something's Gotta Give, but didn't take on any more acting roles after getting married. Vanessa got into modeling at a young age, thanks to her mother running the K Models agency. She was also later signed with Wilhelmina Models, and it seemed as if Vanessa was well on her way to building a career in both the entertainment and modeling industries. Unfortunately, it appears her marriage to Donald Jr. cut this short. As a result, she opted to become a stay-at-home mom and devote all her time to her 5 children instead. During her marriage to Donald Jr., Vanessa launched some business ventures, one of which was her designer handbag line. The line was short-lived, however, and the bags were only sold between 2010 and 2013. She was also seen at her husband's side during Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Vanessa's former publicist, Christine Schott, told the New York Times in 2018 that she thought Vanessa had a chance at creating a new career for herself after her divorce. Schott told the outlet, "I think she could still have a nice career. She could be a mommy blogger, and she could take on a cause. She is in a position to do something great."